Hello?
We're going to start in just about 30 seconds, and I'll welcome everybody, William.
All right.
Okay, thank you. Good morning to everybody joining us in the United States, and good evening to everybody who is joining us in Tanzania. And I want to say also happy Valentine's Day to all of you. And I wanted to share that Valentine's Day at SEGA is actually quite a big event. I think that Juliana maybe just came straight from this event. But they have, for about the past 5 years, been participating in a global event and movement called 1 Billion Rising, where all of the school community jointly learns a dance called Break the Chain. And it is really a solidarity dance to break the chain against violence against women and girls. So it seems like a great way to celebrate Valentine's Day to me. I am Lauda Data Minichis. I am the Executive Director of Nurturing Minds, and I want to welcome all of you to our last of our series of Artists for Education. It's been about 5 weeks. We've had various artists join us, and today we are thrilled to have with us today, Jodi Morris, Global Education Advocate, in conversation with her now good friend, William Moses, known as the Maasai Prince, who is a Tanzanian recording artist, and his sister, Juliana, who is a Form 3 student at SEGA. So this session will be recorded, and at the end of our conversation, we will be taking questions. So you can, as usual, type your questions into the Q&A at the bottom of your screen, and Matt will read those out, and we'll try to get to as many of them as possible. So all of our fabulous speakers throughout this past month, including today's speakers, have donated their time in support of Nurturing Minds. So we hope that you might consider making a donation to Nurturing Minds today in support of girls' quality education, in support of girls like Juliana. By supporting Nurturing Minds, you're supporting holistic quality education of over 1,200 highly vulnerable girls throughout the country. And we partner, as you know, with SEGA, which is Secondary Education for Girls Advancement. And SEGA runs 3 different programs, which include the SEGA Girls School, which has now over 275 girls on a boarding school campus, which provides quality academics, life skills, leadership skills, entrepreneurship, career development, and environmental stewardship. They have now a growing community outreach program called Modern Girl that brings our life skills program to over 900 girls off of the campus in 20 villages, and a scholarship program for continuing education to allow our graduates to continue their education beyond high school. So before we get started with our conversation, I wanted to share just a little bit about the issue of early marriage in Tanzania. 37% of girls in Tanzania marry before the age of 18, and that is despite the fact that the legal marriageable age is 18. So not surprisingly, this is one of the main reasons that keeps girls from continuing their education. So the Maasai tribe, as you will learn, does not traditionally support formal education beyond a certain point. And many in the Maasai community believe that by the age of 14, both girls and boys should marry. So William Moses, who goes by the name of Maasai Prince, actually ran away from his rural Maasai village when he was a teenager so that he could continue with his education. Years later, he learned that his father was seeking to marry off his 14-year-old sister at the time, Juliana, and he, in return for a dowry of cows. And he knew that he really wanted to do something about that to help her. So William, Juliana, now a SEGA student, and our supporter, Jodi Morris, will share really their unlikely story of the power of using your voice and how coming together around a common cause. In this case, the belief in quality education can truly transform lives and make a lasting impact. So, I am really amazed as we are all together today by Zoom and the impact, the positive impacts of things like even email or social media, how we really can, our voices can have this amazing ripple effect, perhaps, more than ever before in our history. So we're going to share how all of these, how everybody here got connected, but just from a personal standpoint, when Jodi decided to use her voice, it came in the form of an email in my inbox. And so, together we were able to find the solution for Juliana, but, it is not the traditional way in which SEGA does its selection process. But I have to say that they have, when cases like this do come up from time to time, they have always been very willing to make accommodations when it is really important to support a particular girl. So anyway, I'll dig into some of the questions so you can hear from everybody else here. And I'll start with Jodi. And so Jodi has a very big corporate background, and you chose to shift that and to start another company called Connecting Growth Globally. And so I guess I wanted to know why you were moved to start this interesting, dynamic and different travel company that is focused on really connecting people and ideas across the globe.
Thanks so much. And such a thrill to be here today. This is just one of my favorite life stories. So it's really fun for all of us to come together across the time zones. But I was a sales and marketing executive in the investment industry for 22 years. And I always said in my mid 40s, I'd do something different, because while I loved doing that work and my work was really concentrated on emerging markets, I also did a lot of travel personally. And, through my work and through my personal travel, I really got to see what was going on in the world with girls' education. And I always call girls' education the best investment we can make. And I love how my travels made me think differently. I loved how, I could inspire other people to think differently. And that was really what was behind Connecting Growth Globally, where, essentially what I do is take all those experiences from my career and I do advisory work for impactful company. I do coaching. And then, as you said, I started leading these trips, which I call them, think differently learning trips, because we go and we visit some of these countries, we dive into things like girls' education. We do a lot of fun things along the way, mostly with young people around the world who I find so inspiring. And so I am learning on every trip, and I love it when people come back and I can see, all the things differently that's going on and how they use that then in their personal and professional life going forward.
That's terrific. How did you share with us a little bit how you originally connected with William and how you learned about his passion for education?
Yeah, well, my trips so far, I've done in Tanzania, Rwanda, and Africa, and then also Cambodia. And we wanted to in 2020 actually do a next trip to Tanzania that included SEGA school, which we'll do at a later point. But my first trip overall, and my first trip to Tanzania, was in May of 2018. And so it was about 6 months prior to the trip where, I was doing some research in terms of who we'd go meet. And one of our visits was going to be with Uber in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, which I was excited about because we all know Uber and how it works in the United States, but how does it work in Tanzania is very different. And so again, using social media, I was connected to the head of Uber Tanzania on LinkedIn, and he posted a video, which was by CGTN Africa, about this young man named William Maasai Prince, who was a driver for Uber. And I'm just showing you right now some of the photos. So the one in the upper right was actually a clip from the video I saw. And I thought, wow, what an interesting man, because he grew up rural Maasai. He's living in Dar es Salaam. He's driving a car for Uber. He's kind of living these two lives that I just felt really told the story of the change that's going on in Tanzania. And then I started Googling him, and I found this video that you see in the upper left-hand corner, which is a song he wrote called Respect, and a video that he performed, which was fascinating and really talking about that transition between rural and then living in urban and, straddling both worlds. And then I found he was even in a movie. So there's a movie called Tanzania Transit, and you see that in the lower right. And the gentleman sitting next to William is actually his grandfather, who had a role in the movie as well. And so, as you can see, I was fascinated by this individual. And so I went on Instagram. He's a man of, 10,000 followers on Instagram, which is many, many more than I have. And I sent him an IM. And I just sent him a message and said, here's what I'm looking to do. I'd love for you to join our trip. And are you open to doing that? And he wrote back. But I have a question for William real quick.
Yes.
So you get this email from this total stranger in the US. Like, why did you write back? I've never asked you that question.
Yeah, well, when I saw the email, I mean, when you emailed me, I looked at it and I was like, okay, should I reply or I should just, mute or whatever. But then later I was like, okay, I wanted to know more about, I mean, you told me about the trip, you told me about this, this coming trip for you to come to Tanzania. And then I was like, I wanted to know more, and I wanted to know this person. So that's why I decided to reply to the email.
I'm so
to
happy
be
you did.
connected anyway. Yeah.
So 6 months later,
but there was, but it was gonna be like I had double thoughts, like should I reply or I shouldn't. But then later I decided to reply.
Are you happy you did?
Oh, of course. after I replied to that email, there was a lot of things that been done already together with, yeah.
Well, so I just have these photos because I love the photo on the left. So now it's May 2018, come to Tanzania, and my husband was traveling on this first trip as well. So we met William, he and I met William at the hotel, and William and I just kind of hit it off. I mean, I feel like personally, we sort of have this weird sense of humor that we share, and we share this, importance of education and kind of challenging others to think differently. And so we just had a lot of fun. And then in the photo on the right, this is, I had invited William to join us for dinner and meet my group. And so we had a pretty diverse group in terms, all Americans, but, male, female, all kinds of different ages. And I just asked William to share his story, what it was like growing up in the village, the story you're going to hear later. And, tell us about the video. And then he had told the group that he had another video that he wanted to do about a song he had written about the importance of education. And he particularly wanted that message to go to the Maasai community, where education is not necessarily encouraged, particularly among girls. And the group got very excited and they said, well, when is that video coming out? We love your first video so much. We can't wait to see it for this song. And he said, well, I have to save for it. And they were saying, well, how much is it? And can we help? And the next thing you knew, they said, William, have you heard of GoFundMe? And he said, no, what's that? And within a week of people returning home, there was a GoFundMe page set up, and we, many of the people, on that trip, and some of them are on the call today, which is fun, contributed to the video that was then really quickly produced in the summer of 2018. And that song was called La Maasai. So that's the cover for it in the left. But what was really fun, I mean, for me, is that William had told me about his family, but when he filmed the video, he did it in his village. And with the video, he also did all these photographs of members of his family. And William, you're smiling, I know, but maybe you could just tell us a little bit about even this photo and who's in it.
Yeah, in this photo, it is in my older village. That was where we lived before we came to Bawani. I know you know the difference. Somebody else couldn't understand. So like in this photo, it's me, my mom, my older brother, my younger sister, like the sister after me, and my younger brother, and Juliana, and younger sister again. So like yeah, you can see Juliana in this photo, but she does really look different.
Yeah, tell us which one.
Not like not
Point out Juliana for us in the
so
photo.
Juliana, she's on the she's a second on the
Yeah,
left.
right, okay.
Yeah,
Can I,
second on
can
the
I,
left.
William, is
She has
there,
a purple. Sorry.
yes, is there a significance to the color that people are wearing? Like one of your sisters is wearing blue, and then is that your mom and Juliana are wearing purple? Or is it just, is there significance to the color or no?
Yeah, those are the especially women colors. I mean, we have a women clothes in Maasai. Like this is the women clothes, and it has two three different colors, like purple and blue and black. So like you can see my sister near my mother. My mom is the second on the right. Okay, so my sister that follows me, she has a black one because they have two. All the women they wear two of them, and the younger like young girls like Juliana, she wears only one, which is folded once. you
Okay,
know
Mhm.
thank you. Thank you,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
cool.
yeah. So like those are the yeah those are the colors.
So that was the first trip, and then Williams joined, for a second trip. Obviously, we didn't do one in 2020, but I hope he'll join, my groups that come to Tanzania on future trips as well.
Great. So Jodi, what did you think when William reached out to you to ask for help with Juliana? How exactly did you find Nurturing Minds? Can you share a little bit more about the particulars of that story?
Yeah, so our friendship continued after the trip, and mostly we stay in touch via WhatsApp. We'll send text messages, audio messages, phone calls, audio or video calls periodically. And so there was one day where I'll never forget, because William said to me, he texted and he goes, "The next time we talk, remind me, I have to tell you something about my sister." And I thought, okay. So talk a couple times later, and I go, "Remember, you said something about your sister. What? And what do you want to tell me?" And he explained the story to me about, how Juliana, I mentioned her, and she's 14, and my father wants her to get married, and I don't know what to do. And I mean, we have a friendship now, so this was not. I mean, I'm very passionate about girls' education and versed on child marriage and all the statistics, but suddenly, this was personal. This is my friend. And this is the man who put together a whole song and video on the importance of education in his community. And here he is in his own family, facing this problem. So it struck me. I didn't really know what to do because I'm not a professional in education. I don't know anything about schools in Tanzania. And so I just sent an email out to about 30 people who might be connected to schools in Africa and maybe had some ideas. And I had visited a girls' school in Kenya in 2014 for several weeks. And I was actually the executive director who was on my email from that school, who wrote back to me and said, "Hey, a couple of years ago, I heard of this school. I was on a panel with somebody from SEGA in Tanzania, and it's a very similar school to ours. And perhaps they can help." And so that's how we got in touch via email. My email was forwarded to you, and long and short of it, you got to meet Juliana, and I know there was three things that had to happen. First of all, she had to come to school and take some tests, and just to know that she'd be okay there. William had to get her there. I had no idea what that entailed. And then I said, all right, well, if those things can happen, Juliana does okay on the test, William can get her there, I'll figure out how to pay for it. And it all worked out clearly, because now she's in her third year at SEGA today.
I'm curious, how long did it take before you heard back when you sort of used your voice and reached out to your your 30 friends. And did you have much hope that, you know, just putting this randomly out there that you would find a place for Juliana?
I had no idea. Because I again knew nothing. But so I had no idea what would happen, when it would happen. I'm just so grateful. My friend from the school in Kenya wrote back within a day, and our timing was everything because the school year was just about to start. You know, the Juliana and her peers, they were going through this really intense English language session before they started their first year, and so we got really lucky on the timing. I'm really happy she responded quickly. And I'm just happy I sent the email. I wasn't all that hopeful. You know, I didn't know what would happen.
Right. And so why did you ultimately decide to actually, you know, provide a sponsorship, a scholarship for Juliana directly?
It was, no was not an answer, right? I mean, this was something I had to do when this was very personal. This was important, and I could do something. It was a no-brainer to be a sponsor for Juliana.
Well, we are so grateful for that. And just in case some of the people joining today don't know, the Nurturing Minds and SEGA does have a student sponsorship program. And there's actually two different levels. There's a partial sponsorship at $750 and something we call Tree of Knowledge at $2,500, which covers all of the costs of educating a girl for a year at the SEGA Girls School. So with that, the girls write a couple of letters a year to their sponsors, and the school provides 2 academic updates. And then, of course, sponsors are encouraged to write as much as they like, as often as they like. But the wonderful thing about it, obviously, it provides a scholarship. So, you know, it really enables us to provide this education for all of these girls. But also it helps girls with their English because they're writing English. It sort of opens up everybody's world cross-culturally. And I think also another positive thing about the sponsorship program is that it helps girls know that there's someone out there who is really rooting for them and eager to see them succeed in their education. So thank you so much, Jodi, for doing that.
Of course. Can I ask you some questions? I want to go back to William for a minute. You were telling us a little bit about, you know, your family and describing even the dress here, which was new learnings for me as well. But can you talk a little bit about your personal experiences? You know, we learned that you ran away from home to get an education. And so what was it like growing up as a man in the Maasai culture, and why was education so important to you?
Well, okay. First of all, I was always passionate about education when I was younger. When I was a little boy, like when I go herding, like taking and going with the walking the cows, but every time I find a little paper on the road or on the way, I just pick it up. I have to just read it, and then so like I especially wanted to get an exposure to understand more. I was I was like, oh yeah, I wanted to be educated about the new world. I want to understand things that, and you know, even when I listen to an English radio, and I really want to understand what they what they're saying, you know. So that's why I just felt like I can't stay there because my father actually doesn't really know the importance of education, and he didn't want me to go to school and like to continue my education. So I just decided to run away, and I knew my uncle, the one who supported me for the while that I left my village, and then I went there because I knew he could support me because he likes you know education, not like my father. So when I when I ran away, then I saw the I mean the difference and the importance of me running away, because if I could have stayed there, I think I wouldn't have been able to reply to your email maybe. And then so I decided to do that. But it's just very hard to make a Maasai man to understand why education is important, especially those days. Now, yes, now they're starting to understand, but it was very hard. But for me, it was yeah. I'm happy that I ran away
Yeah.
and went to learn, and I got to learn more. I got to get into these two worlds. Like now, I'm living in two worlds because I live in the Maasai world. I live in a modern world, like this Western world, and it's just sometimes hard to balance. But yeah, I'm trying to live in it because sometimes when I go at home, then I need to merge with them. Like I need to to be on a certain level to make them understand me and me to understand them. Otherwise, then we don't understand each other because the Maasai culture, the Western culture, living in Dar es Salaam for 11 years or 12 years, I lived for a long time in Dar, and this really makes a lot of, big transformation in the way you think, the way I think, and the way I view the Maasai culture and the people in the village. So running away made me really, it exposed me into, in this, like, yeah, in this, yeah.
Well, that's your songs too. I mean, your first song, Respect, I think was this grappling with, right, like what you faced in Dar, right? Like you didn't always feel like you had respect
Yes.
because you were Maasai. And then
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
yeah. So talk about that, and then also Le Maasai, like why as your second song, did you focus squarely on education? I think I know, but I want to hear from you.
Of course. Yeah. So my first song it's Respect, which I wrote um, with the purpose of like trying to tell people not to underestimate who you doesn't know or somebody you don't know what they could do. So my the inspiration on that song, it's because of the people, non-Maasai people. The people in town, they view the Maasai people in a different way. They think Maasai people they're ignorant and stupid. That's how they think we are. So for me, I was like, okay, you can't really you can't underestimate somebody while you don't know that person and you don't know what they could really do. So I wrote the song in with the purpose of educating people, sometimes to not to view things in a different way, especially towards me. Because in Dar es Salaam, when you get into the bus as a Maasai, and sometimes people don't want to sit next to you, and when they smell, like for example, I like perfumes, and then like when it smell good, and then they tell me, the people say, how come a Maasai smells of perfume? And I'm like, I bought it, and I wanted perfume. So like they think I shouldn't smell good because I am a Maasai, so I should smell like or something. This song tried to tell the people that it has can do anything, the respect. But then my second song was my second song. It was about girls' education, and I thought about my sister and other Maasai girls, and those who didn't really get education, and that's why Maasai community, no, they don't know. So I wanted to be the voice. I wanted to actually, put a word out there so they could listen, at least even if they don't do a big change or a big movement, but then they could at least, understand that educating children or girls in the Maasai community, it's very important. Because in Maasai, they think women, they don't really matter, So they think like, why would you take a girl to school? a boy should go to school, but sometimes, I mean, a boy would rather go to school, but not a girl. So
Right.
I was, I was inspired for that, like to tell them that, I mean, all kids are equal, and girls should go to school too, and it important. I mean, the education is important to everybody, actually. That's why I wrote that one. There's a second song.
It was
Like,
so ironic because you had just done the video, you went to your village, and the village was all involved in the video, which was really fun to see. But then it was only like 2 months later that, and I want to hear, how did you hear about your father wanting to marry off Juliana? Like,
my mom told me. My mom told me, and I knew it because he was talking about it. He was literally telling me that, now she's grown up, we could get some cows out of her. I'm like, oh, no, no, no. So like, she shouldn't be married so we get cows. So that's why I started, know, thinking her, like, how could I help? How could I her? I wanted really her, like, text, because I knew her, So when I knew that, then I had to talk about it with you, to tell you about it, because I knew he would really get her married, and it could be very easy, quick, simple.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm so happy everything happened so fast because we needed to
yes.
move fast.
Yeah, exactly. So we had to move fast. That's
What was it like? Do you remember the day that you talked to Juliana and said, "Hey, I want to take you to SEGA. This might be an education opportunity for you." Can you tell us about that day and what that felt like as a brother? And
Yeah, I know. I remember. So like, when I talked to her, and actually I had to go get her in the village. Oh yeah. Yes, I had to go get her, and then we came to Morogoro town. That was her first day in the city. Like, she've never been to the city before.
really?
And then, yes, so,
Wow.
so we got into this big bus, very big bus, and she was very scared. She
Wow.
was, yes, and then, we came to Dar es Salaam first. Remember that we had to come to Dar es Salaam first, and then take her back to Morogoro, to SEGA Morogoro. We had to come to Peter. It was Peter's home, but we took her, right? Remember? We were doing all of this, like, it's been a while now, but I remember we brought her to Dar es Salaam first, and then we went to, she had to stay at Peter's, the room to read, the,
Mhm.
the guy from room to read,
Yeah.
and yeah, and then after that we took her to Morogoro, because we were trying to look for the school for the time being, because for that moment we wanted to just, take her away from the village, so my father doesn't have a chance to marry her off, because she's not
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So when I told her, she was very happy. She was very happy because she doesn't want to get married, of course. She didn't want to get married. So it was it was a life-changing day for her, because she didn't expect that I could, do something like that. And then, so she was very happy. I remember she was happy, and then we did all this emailing, calling, and doing all of that until we got her into SEGA. And it was not easy for her as well, because she didn't speak a word of English. It was very hard for her to join the school, because she couldn't even do the entry exams, because they knew she can't do it, because the school she came from, we just had the favor that for her to get into the school, because of what's happening to her, that she's gonna get married, and so they accepted her. And instead of, like, because SEGA, they need this quality. I mean, they want to. Uh, they have a criteria, like the student has to do the entry exams, and then they will verify that if they should take the student or not. So that they just took her because they wanted, to help car after Jodi's emails and the calls.
I know.
That's cute.
Juliana, do you remember that first day when you showed up at SEGA? So you were in Moro Girl, you're on the bus, and then you come to SEGA. What? And you don't speak any English. What did that feel like for you?
Oh, it was the hard time to me because when I came to Sega, I was not even how to speak English. It was a hard time to me, but I struggled a lot. I found a friend who taught me how to speak English, and nowadays I can speak good English and understand the teacher. Because that time when I came here to Sega, I was not even how to speak English, and I was not understand the teacher in the class when he's teaching.
Mm. Were you happy that you were at SEGA? It must have been frightening to be so far from home and in a place where you couldn't speak the language being used.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy, and I'm happy because I left with my father who wanted who wanted me to get married, and I came to study. I know that I came to get a knowledge, to get more knowledge, and yeah, like that.
Yeah. What has it been like for you to be at SEGA? What has it meant for you?
Um, I still like it is a bless because before I came to Sega, um, I saw that it was the end of my studying because I did not want to end up like my sister who got married at at a young age. She got married when she was 15 years old, and the person who got married with him, he was an old man, and I was scared before that. I was afraid. I did not want it to get that.
Mm.
I did not
Mm.
want it.
Do you ever think of what it would be like if you had to stay there, if you had to get married? Do you know of girls in your village who did have to get married? And do you think many of them would like to continue their education?
Um, to my community, my
Mm.
relatives, some of them, they not want me they don't want me to study. They are telling me, how comes a girl to study? A girl, she can't do anything. But I know myself, oh, I can do anything and I can reach my goals. And there are so many girls to our village who are get married and they want to continue with their school, with their studying, but they are not getting a chance because their parents are not allowing them to study. They are telling him them girls are not allowed to study. But I see to me how special am I. I'm here at Sega, I'm studying and I'm getting more knowledge. And I'm not like them who are there in the village and some of them, they are getting married at a young age and they are getting children. And now my friends who we were studying together, now they are mothers, they have children. But myself who is studying, a master girl who has a story to go to school to study. So I'm happy for that.
That's wonderful. So what do you think has been one of your biggest challenges at SEGA?
My challenge, it was when I don't know how to speak English because when a teacher entered in the class, I was not understanding anything. But I struggled a lot. I did. I get a friend who was teaching me, and she taught me many things about how to speak English. And now I'm speaking English and I understand the teachers. Yeah, I'm performing well in my studying.
I don't think you're not alone in that, though. I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges for most of our students that come. English is usually often your third language, right? And I know that it is very challenging to go from not really speaking much to having to learn all of your classes and in English. So that is part of why I think William mentioned we have an English fluency program that I think you maybe got to join in on part of it before you started. And it really focuses heavily working with our youngest students right before they start high school on fluency in an intensive way. And I have personally been amazed to see the transformation, the quick transformation of not being able to speak any English to, you know, speaking very, very good English in short order, just as you do. And then I guess I wanted to know also, you know, what are some of your dreams and aspirations? What would you like to do when you get older?
My dreams is I wish one day I go Malaysia. Um, I really like that. And when I got older, I want to teach Maasai tribes how to bring their daughter to school to study, because I know girls, they can do wonders, not only boys. They know that only boys who can do wonders, but even girls, they can do. I want to give them education.
That's fantastic. That's wonderful. So your brother came a little over a year ago, and Jodi was there too to have a concert at school, right? So I was just wondering what that was like for you to have your brother, who's this great musician, come and perform at SEGA with all of your friends. What did you think of that?
I was so happy, and my friends, my fellow students, they were asking me about my brother, and I told them, and they said they are going to follow him to look his songs. Yeah, they are so happy, and the video was so happy. And it was the first day when we meet with Jodi. I was so happy because I never see her. It was my first day to see her.
Oh, that was your first time to meet Jodi?
Yeah, it was a really special day. I had such an appreciation because Juliana at that point had, only known English a year. She had been at SEGA for 1 year, and she was outstanding in her speech.
Right.
And she's very tall. That's what
I hear you just keep getting taller and taller, Juliana. So yeah, to any of you, to William or Jodi, also, like, what was that day like? Did you have anything in particular that you remember? I heard it was pouring rain, which sounds like that must have been a little challenging, but.
William, what do you remember? You were the one on stage.
No, it was fun being at the stage, performing for those kids. And then the students were very, 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 happy to, and, my favorite part was in the end when they were asking me tons of questions. like
this.
How did you do that? And they were very curious. And so I remember you had to I had to go. So I had to actually leave. Yeah, okay, exactly. These are the kids. I can remember her, the one with the glasses. She was having a lot of questions.
I know.
Yeah, so it was very nice to perform over there, and they were happy and supportive, and they liked my songs, and yeah, so it was really fun. Yeah, I liked the moment. It was very nice.
It looks like it was a lot of fun. Well,
I think for me, what was this, I love this photo and also this one, because what struck me, the girls love William, and it just all of a sudden struck me, wow, maybe a lot of them, they probably don't have male role models, like fathers and older brothers. And he suddenly was everybody's older brother at the school. And it was so beautiful to watch. And William's right. His mom, who, by the way, she's on the photo here on the right, Sabrina. She's so beautiful, and it was my first time meeting her as well. She doesn't speak any English, and so she just smiled a lot and just took in everything that was going on. But she was waiting in the car, and the girls would not let William go. So she was in the car in a long time.
That's great.
Juliana, what do you remember? Did you dance? Were you here in the crowd dancing?
Yeah. Me too. I was dancing, and I was very, very happy when I see my brothers dancing and my fellow students. They are looking the way he's dancing, and them they are following him. I was so very happy. I was
Guys, for
happy. I will remember that day we was dancing together. Uh,
Was I a good dancer?
yeah.
Oh no. You're very kind, but no.
So I want to give a chance to, we have lots of people watching today, and I see we have a few questions. So I'm going to invite Matt to jump on to read some of those questions to us.
Sure. So our first question is from Sherry. She's wondering how Juliana and William's father feels about education now.
Well, I should answer the question, right?
Sure.
Okay. My father has a totally different overview towards education now, because when he met Juliana again, then he realized he shouldn't have, tried to get her married. So yeah, my father thinks different about education now, and he even tells Juliana the other day, he was telling her, hey, when you graduate and you are going to get a job, will you be, giving me some money sometime? Juliana was like, I don't think, you know. So now he thinks different. He knows now education could change a life and could be a key to somebody's better life.
Awesome. That's great to hear. He has changed too, and he sees the value. Yeah.
So our next question is from Susan to Juliana. She's wondering, how is it when you go back to your village? She notes that your brother William struggles sometimes fitting back in. So what has your experience been? And what's next for you after graduation from SEGA?
When I go back to the village, my fellow Maasai, they're wondering at me because I'm looking differently. I'm not like them. And the way I am, the way they are, I'm not like them. I'm different from them. And when we meet with my brother, maybe I come from the school. When we meet with him, I was happy because today I'm going home, and I do not like to live there in the village because something they are different with people who are living in town, with people who are living in the village. It was
So do they treat you differently now?
no, it is not that treating me differently,
No.
but the way they are, then the way I am, it is not. It is different. We are not the same because some Maasai tribe are living in the forest. They are not living near West Town. They are living in the forest. So they like those things of all the, I don't know, I don't know, can I say them? They like to follow culture, the culture of Maasai the way it is. So I don't like them. I hate.
You don't like to go back. Now, William, you said that you moved villages, right? So is there a big difference from where you both grew up to where your family is living now?
Yeah, it's different. I actually wanted to move because Jodi knows the process, because I told her how I want it. Because I mean, most of the time my activities are in town, like in Dar es Salaam or in Morogoro. And reaching to my older village, it was very hard in terms of transportation and infrastructure of the road, and it was not easy to get there. So I always wanted and dreamed before that I wanted to live somewhere where transport is easier and it's easy for me to go to town and come back to my family, not like before. Because when I had to go home when we were living in the in the other village. It was like a whole day travel, and it's very, very, very tiring. And it's, I mean, the logistics is just hard. So
Right.
I wanted to move somewhere better with the better communication and transportation. So we came to Bawani, to Bawani where we live now, and the big change, yes, it's different. It's totally different, and we like it here. Yeah, we like it here. Yeah.
Great. So we have another question for William. Polly is wondering, are you yourself married? And what are your thoughts on your own future if you marry and have a daughter? Would you advocate for sending her to school as well?
Well, well, I'm not married, but I have a daughter already. So I have a daughter, and she's 8 years old. Jodi met her. She knows her, and yeah, of course she's attending to a primary school now. She's a standard 3, and of course I mean, yes, she have to study. She have, of course.
That's great. So a few questions about the Maasai culture in Tanzania. Um, Polly writes again, it seems that they have been so successful in maintaining their culture while also adapting to the modern world in many cases. What do you see as a whole for your culture, tribe, and people?
Sorry, can you repeat the question? Didn't really get it well.
Sure. So it's just, what do you see the future for the Maasai people are in Tanzania? It seems that the Maasai people have been successful in maintaining their culture while also adapting to the modern world.
Yeah. Actually, I can see the Maasai people in Tanzania or in Kenya are now, adapting to this modern world. Globalization has actually taken over in everywhere. And for me, I wouldn't want the culture to get perished or like to lose the culture. I would like the culture to be there because there are good parts about my culture and there are bad parts, but those bad parts could just be, minimized and not to be used. But then there are good cultures, and I like my traditions. I mean, my Maasai traditions, and because now when the Maasai get educated, then they don't want to be told they are Maasai. They deny their identity and their culture. They're like, oh, I'm not a Maasai, because they feel ashamed to be called a Maasai. And especially they don't want to wear the Maasai cloth anymore. They don't want to do those, Maasai culture stuff and whatever. So they want to be modern 100%. And I don't think it's very good, because that's where we are going to lose the culture and not to have it in coming years. So for me, I am a modern Maasai, of course, and I always try to show the Maasai people or the Maasai youth that they can they can still look cool when you are in Maasai clothes or in Maasai culture, than removing it and throw it away just because you're educated. You can still be a Maasai, and then there's cool Maasai. You can be a cool Maasai still. So yeah, I can see the culture is actually, maybe it's not gonna be there maybe 50 years later, because the modern world is taking.
Great. So our next question is for Juliana. Wondering, what are your hobbies and what do you love to do when you have free time?
I like drawing and I like singing. I like to sing, and sometimes when there's music, I like to dance.
Maybe you and your brother can sing together in the next.
So, William, how did you become a musician? How did you get into music?
Well, yeah, I liked music when I was young, very young. So she knows because she remember I used to write lyrics and sing for them at home, and I think she does remember some of my oldest songs that I really hate when I hear. She knows. They sometimes sing for me, and I'm like, no, 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 that's not my song. So I had a passion about music long time ago. I mean, when I was younger, so I always wanted to, to be a musician, to record, and being in the videos and all that. So I, we first had a band. It was a it's a traditional Maasai dance. It was a group, and then we were doing this traditional dance and singing in, cultural music festivals and the hotels. Sometimes we, go entertain. But then later we couldn't continue as a group, and then I decided to record myself as I always wanted. So I had to, I went to the studio and recorded and recorded. I recorded according to things that I think should change, like respect, like my first song. I wanted to, alert people, tell them that I mean, shouldn't, there's look down on people while you don't know them. So that's when I started to record and become a musician. And it was when I did it, then it was something. My respect song was one of the, that's the song that introduced me into the music industry, and it got really played in some of the channels that I didn't expect they could play. Like it was in MTV South Africa, and I'm like, whoa, it's
What?
that's my song right there. My friends are taking screenshots and sending me, hey, I saw you on MTV.
Wow,
So I'm like, yeah. So
that's
it was
amazing.
really, yeah. So I had passion to continue, and yeah, I didn't stop singing. I am still gonna, have some song out later. I don't know.
Mm, that's great.
Mm.
Great. So our next question um, is, so what is your younger sister doing? Is she going to school, or is your father looking for a husband for her?
My younger sister, all my other sisters are married to really.
Youngest.
My other sisters are married, like all of them, and some are married to very bad men, very bad men. So one of my sisters, she's now, she can't, she was sick, like she was married. I mean, this is a sister after, I think she's after her, then it's Juliana, but they actually have a very big gap of, like, Juliana is younger because she's 23 now, and she was married to this really vulnerable bad guy. I don't know how I could put it, but then she got really sick throughout the 2019. She was in the hospital for like a year or 6 months. I used to tell Jodi about her, and this man doesn't really care about her. So I had to bring her home, to take her to the hospital myself. So she's at home now, but she can't speak. She can't talk because she got paralyzed before, and she's she's just not her anymore. He actually, I don't like him because she really lived a very bad life with him. But we are not gonna give her back to her. I mean, I am not gonna give her back to him. She can stay with us, and
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm so
And my other sister, after me, she got really beat up last week, like really beat up. This man, took a club and started hitting her in the chest, and she's 25 now, but she's 26 now, but she has four kids, and this man, beat her pretty bad last week. You know, my mom went there to see her. So my mom is not in Bawani now. She went to see her over there.
So
And
sorry, William. That's
yeah,
awful.
it's really horrible.
Good to hear.
It's very bad. So the only person, I mean, the only sister that got lucky and she's studying is Juliana. There's nobody else studied. You know,
Wow.
yeah. It is starting to get dark here. There's no power.
I think we just have, I know it's 11, I think we do have a few more questions. Matt, are there just a couple more we can take?
Sure.
Otherwise, you guys are going to see only my teeth.
And your beautiful orange, I love that.
So
Ashuka.
this could be our last question since the light is running out there. This question is from Polly. She's wondering how we can hear Respect and where can we buy your music?
That's a great question.
You can search me. You can only search Maasai Prince. It's Maasai Prince in YouTube. You can have all my music over there and Spotify too.
Awesome.
And we'll send the links in the follow-up as well.
Yeah, Jodi knows how to do that a lot. She's a connector.
That's right. I know a lot of people would love to support your music, your mission as well. Thank you all so much. Thank you, William, for all that you are doing for your family, for Juliana, and thank you, Juliana, for persisting. I know that it is a challenging road, and that's a big transition coming from the community that you come from, and we wish you the best of luck. We know you're going to do great things and continue like your brother has to change your world and really promote and advocate. I love what you want to do later, continue to advocate for girls' education. And Jodi, thank you so much too for being this megaphone and really helping, using your voice to really bring Juliana to Nurturing Minds and to SEGA. Thank you all for participating. This has been wonderful. Once again, I think Jodi put it into, Julie put it into the Q&A. If you're interested in making a donation to support Nurturing Minds, that will all go to supporting girls like Juliana, providing a quality education and continuing with that mission. So thank you so much. I wish you all have a wonderful rest of your Valentine's Day, and we hope to see you soon. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.